Welcome to the Elevating Leaders series, where we go beyond the headlines and straight to the people who are redefining insurtech and business transformation. We've caught up with the visionaries and the pioneers that are currently driving the industry forward, bringing you exclusive insights, strategies, and stories you won't hear anywhere else. If you're ready to go deeper, this is your front row seat to the future of insurance. I'm Miguel Edwards, and this is 5 Minutes.
I think AI is out there, and then customer experience just as a whole.
Right.
Like, there's a huge emphasis on it. And I think a lot of times, like, these people that are in Western North Carolina with Helene, you know, some firsthand experience, like, what can we do to make their lives better?
Right.
Because they can't necessarily pick up their phone and do a digital first notice of loss right now, right?
That's right.
How can we help them with AI and that human interaction to get them whole again?
Yeah.
So those are the two big things that I'm seeing right now. Just, how do we use AI? How do we use it responsibly? And then that customer interactivity, right? How are you there for people?
Mm-hmm. I love that. One of the things, Josh, that I was kind of excited to talk to you about, because I'm a little worried that AI has come in. It's here. It's amazing.
It is here.
It's amazing and it's powerful, but what I feel like has happened is that it overshadowed another component of emerging technology that I think is going to be essential to fully leverage AI, and here's what I mean. A couple of years ago, I started tracking the whole concept of no and low code applications, and I'm like, this is it, man. We have arrived. Because now as an industry we can finally start shedding legacy. We can start bringing the business together to co-create with technology. We bring the business tighter into that type of innovation. I was real excited about that. I'm still excited about it, but now I'm worried that AI come in, it's the new shiny object, it's overshadowing that.
For sure.
And is that going to slow our ability to adopt AI? Because we still haven't, to your point about customer experience, we really haven't fully addressed that yet.
No. You know, if I try to look at it in a vacuum, and I never really thought about how AI could, upset the balance of no-code, low-code solutions, but I think you're exactly right. So knee-jerk reaction to that is it possible? Yes. And I think what it's doing, though, is, you see these big technology projects, right? Implementing a new core system, it takes a lot of technologists to do it.
Right.
The excitement around no-code, low-code, being able to bring the business users forward to help make the decisions, to stop the rework.
Yep.
Because an IT person who may not fully understand an underwriting process has created some code that stopped the flow. Getting that business user out there with no-code, low-code is so important, but you really need sometimes the technologist again to go back to the AI.
That's right.
So it feels like they skipped the generation of technology leading projects to business leading projects, and now technology leading projects again.
Right.
And I think the trick, and you talk about it all the time, right, Miguel? Yeah. Like, how do you operationalize data? Like, how do you take data and make better decisions? But how do you empower the business users to help do that, right? So it's certainly an exciting time, but I do think that you bring up a really interesting point, and I hadn't really considered before, but that's just maybe one of those areas that maybe we can really take that AI technology and build it into the no-code, low-code solution, so the business users can start to drive projects a little bit faster and better.
There you go. Well, with that said, Josh, want to talk a little bit about your product and kind of how that fits into the overall ecosystem and the innovation that's so necessary. Yeah.
So what's really interesting, we're trying to help carriers operationalize data, right? So our platform really delivers a better agent experience and policyholder experience. But what does that really mean? So the insurance industry burdened by regulation and compliance and underwriting rules, and it's all necessary, right?
Yeah.
To protect the carriers, protect the customers, protect the agents. But I'm seeing data like from Celent, as an example, comes out and says, 76% of people that come into the insurance business leave because it's too hard. And it's hard because we've got these stodgy old systems.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is solve that problem. And I talk to carriers all the time. Like, I ask them the question, when agents think of the carrier that's the easiest to do business with, are you at the top of the list?
Right.
And I usually get this response, because they know they're not, right? They know there's a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah.
And the same thing on the policyholder side, right? Like, how can you provide empathy, whether it's through a mobile device, through a texting, AI, whatever it is. How do you get out there and help people understand the insurance experience? We'll just call it the insurance experience as an example. So ours is really an experience platform, right?
Yep.
So I do this in demos all the time. I say, I'm an insurance guy. I probably could get the replacement cost on my home, plus or minus 20%, right? Inflationary factors and stuff. I'm not an actuary, so I can't get it spot on. But my neighbor across the street, Mark, he was a battlefield medic. He knows lots of things about medical devices and how to save people's lives. But if he were to go and buy insurance today, insurance carrier is going to ask him, what are we going to insure your house for? That's a huge mistake. There's so much data that is available to give him an insurance experience so he understands how insurance works.
Yeah.
So you put the data in, you put your address in, and he's like, well, what do I use? Do I use what I bought my house for, my tax value, which we're all really upset about. Since he's my neighbor, I'm upset about that. Or what the guy down the street just sold his house for.
Right.
He's going to use the lower of those three values, and none of them are accurate. So what we need to do is we need to empower him, put your address in, let's pull that back, and let's say why we're going to use this number as the basis for your insurance. But then you take that to the next level and you say, well, Mr. Cooper, not only are we going to insure your house for this value, but you're in a particular flood zone. You're at a higher risk. So we're happy to sell the house, but based on our underwriting appetite, you don't necessarily say that to him, but you have to have a flood policy to move on. So you have to click this button, and we're going to provide you a flood policy as well to really, round out protection.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.